Hey y'all, oh my gosh, I am so excited. We are back again with another podcast with a little bit chaos for you this week. We are back with season 3 and I am so excited because we're going to be talking about living life with a little bit more intentionality and how that can truly kill chaos in every area of your life, okay? So listen, we're going to have some fun this season and we're starting out with this episode talking about how intentionality can make an impact. When you are intentional with your time, intentional with your intention, then you are going to make an amazing impact on your life, okay? So I want to talk about the reasons behind intentionality, why we need to do that. And what's going to be cool is that this season, we're going to be real in and out. We're going to have 10 minutes of an awesome topic, and then we're going to get right into our Dream Boost prayer, the thing that always keeps and caps off every single week. Okay, so let's get into it. All right, so first things first, also, we have our things. So also, 3 things that you need to learn about how intentionality builds impact. Number 1, you are made for more. I don't know if you know this. I don't know if you ever felt this or just felt like you've been living life and you're like, you know what, there's got to be more to it. Well, let me tell you, that feeling is not fake. That feeling is not weird or strange. It is exactly how you were made. Each one of us were made for more. Each one of us were made to do something in our lives, okay? So just even thinking about it, I was thinking about this, and the first thing that I thought about was the story of Joseph, right? I don't know if you know this story in the Bible, but this guy, he had dreams, and he had all types of, he had 11 other brothers. There we go. And he had this dream that he would be above all of his family. And then his family, his brothers, everybody would bow down to him, right? Well, listen, they didn't like that. Okay. I'm sure you probably didn't like that either, right? Wouldn't like that either. But the key thing about him is that he went through a whole lot of stuff. But in the end, he ended up, seeing this dream fulfilled in a way that he didn't think it was going to be fulfilled. But one key thing that I loved of this story actually happens in Genesis 50. And I'm going to read this verse real specific because it's so important, right? It says that Genesis 5:20, as you were meant, as for you, you meant evil against me, but God meant it for good to bring about that many people should be kept alive. His problems, his issues, his struggles in life all came down to this. It wasn't just for him. It wasn't just because life was hard. It was because he was being prepared and positioned to take care of many others, to transform other people's lives. So yes, you were made for more, and you were made for others. You were made to help others make an impact in their lives. That's why being intentional is so important, because you were truly made for something that was beyond what we could even ask, think, or imagine. And I think sometimes we get bogged down in the busyness of life, and we're going to talk about this in this season. We're going to talk about how we are going to break down the busyness of life and really get intentional with who we are, because 1, you were made for more, and then 2, you were truly made for others, right? So the final thing about this is that yes, you were made for more. Yes, you were made for others. So now let's be intentional with the time that we have, okay? Let's actually be intentional with every moment that we have. And this is actually my favorite verse, and honestly, the verse that is behind everything that I do here at SonjaWCoaching, and that's Psalm 90:12. I love this verse because it says, teach us to use wisely all the time that we have. In that chapter of Psalm 90, it talks about, I'm not sure if it's David that's speaking or if some other guy wrote this psalm, okay? Sorry, I don't remember. But earlier in that psalm, it talks about how we were only made to live 70, and if we're strong, maybe 80 years. And then it goes on to say, so Lord, teach us to use the time that we have wisely. And this is why it's so important, because we only have a short time here, and you were made to do something beyond yourself. You were made to do something beyond what we could even ask or think or imagine. And until you're intentional with the moments that you have on this earth, you're going to miss out on it. You're going to miss out on that impact and then never really be satisfied. Because I'm sure right now, even as you're living, as you're thinking, you're like, man, there is so much more that I could be doing. You feel like there's something more to be doing, right? That was made, that was put in you on purpose. So this season, we're going to talk about how to actually be intentional with our lives, with our dreams. We're going to learn about different techniques about being intentional, right? We're going to learn about building your dream week. We're going to learn about all these different things, because these things are going to help you, one, kill chaos in your life, but then two, actually make the impact that you are supposed to make. Okay, so listen, let's get into this season. Now, before I go, one thing that I always love to do is pray, because we're preparing for the week, and prayer is a major part of that. Okay, so let's get into this dream boost prayer. Lord, help us to be intentional with every moment that we have on this earth. Life is fleeting, but we were made for impact. So show us what to do. Amen. That's it, y'all. I'm super, super excited for this season of A Little Less Chaos. Make sure that you come back and join me next week as we delve even deeper into this idea of intentionality, making an impact and transforming our lives, okay? Now, listen, one thing that I think is super important in life is that you're careful with your words. Now, I know that might seem kind of strange, but your words produce. Your words can produce life or death. So, if you want to help with building words that actually produce life, join my email list, and I'll give you a template on how to make your own biblical affirmations. See you next week as we make an impact and kill some chaos.